I'm a little nervous about starting this podcast.
Do. A Brillian Tries.
We really do. Welcome back to A Brillian Tries.
Open to something new. You're the authority. Every podcast I want to open up by saying, I seek out authority, Jilly.
And here it is. Welcome back to A Brillian Tries. I'm Jillian.
I'm Brindley.
And we're in our friend Enzo's bedroom.
And this is...
using his shit because he has a bunch of cool shit and equipment that we don't have. And he is doing the kindness of allowing us to use it. And here he is now.
Don't act so modest. You literally are trying to become famous.
He's being our sound guy. Hush.
Okay, sound guy. Okay, Jamie.
Okay.
Did you guys ever listen to Joe Rogan?
No.
Enzo's Jamie.
Oh, yeah, Jamie.
Oh, you just made that connection?
Could you please look up why is there a jiggling
Jamie.
sound? Pull that up,
Jamie, could you crop that in for us, please?
Oh my god.
Welcome back to A Brilliant Tries. This is a podcast that me and Brinley decided to make because we love being basked in fluorescent lights. I got a hot take. It's not a hot take. I got something to say, a prompt, if you will, that will help the viewers get to know us a little bit better because for all you know, we're just two girls on the internet, but you know what? We're human beings too. And I was just wondering, Bryn, how do you act when you're at a club?
Wait, I have to say something.
What?
Oh, actually, no, I should answer that. What? How do I feel at the club?
No, how do you act at a club? Because I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, I just can't take clubs seriously at all. And it reminded me, you know, for one of the first nights that we ever hung out together. I remember you were just vibrant and
I remember the day
magic.
we first met.
Yeah, like it was yesterday. And, you know, I don't think you got drunk that night, actually. It was probably just me. But we went to a few bars, went bar hopping around, big group of people.
Was this when I was wearing my Shakespeare costume? Because you said that.
I don't know.
But
no,
what
I don't
night
think
was
so.
this?
It was early
we broke
on.
the glass.
It was...
And you said pulchritudinous, and I really liked that.
Oh my god, wait. What glass did we break?
There was that, bus stop, and we punched it, and it shattered. Yes.
Bus stop.
Yes.
And what did we...
And you were wearing a long skirt.
Yeah.
Was that the first night?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I said pulchritudinous. Wow. Can't believe you remember that.
We're going to be friends.
You were like, that's a big word. That's a good one I'd like to whip out at functions to prove that I have a wide vernacular.
The juxtaposition.
The juxtaposition.
Yeah, that was one of the first nights I ever... That was one of the first nights I ever met you.
We danced.
We danced, and we went to a few different bars, and, you know, one of my favorite moments was we went into this one, I think it... Actually, I'm not going to say what the bar was. Fuck you. You don't get to know the name of the bar. Regardless, we went to a bar, and we just, walked in and immediately, had a character going on. We just, waltzed in, and we were zoom, zoom, and then we went to the very back, where there was, a mini stage, but there weren't a lot of people there, because it was, maybe 1 in the morning. It was pretty late. And we just started dancing around. You got up on the stage. There were some people in dog masks that showed up.
I think it just doesn't do it for us anymore. I mean, listen to us. We walk in, we're on the stage, we're like, ugh, we're already the main characters.
Well, we have to, yeah. Yeah, I don't like clubs.
Now let's go through my notes.
Yeah, let's
Greta Gerwig, can you do a movie about a non-monogamous group of friends? I wrote that down.
Oh.
Let's see what else I've written down. Picture that. What do you think it would look like?
You know, that's on par because I've been thinking about non-monogamy all day long.
I've gotten to you.
Yeah, you have because I was thinking about our conversation last night.
We feel trapped so easily. We have to keep expanding in every direction. I don't see us being trapped ever.
Yeah, I just don't think there's anyone that I've ever been with who truly makes me feel free. So I'm like, if that's a feeling I can get, cool. But also, I was thinking about last night how we were talking about, you know, our 20s are tumultuous. They really are. There's just so much shit going on all the time. And nothing is like those are the periods of years where you're like really changing. You're like basically formulating yourself into the person that you're going to become, I think. Because I mean, people do say they find themselves in their 30s, but like I do think you're okay. Yeah, maybe I sound like an asshole because I'm only like 24 and I'm like, yeah, your 20s. It's like, okay, obviously I don't know everything yet. I'm just saying, I think 20s like is tumultuous and you're learning a lot about yourself and you think you're supposed to know everything, but you don't, and you just keep learning shit about yourself over and over and over again. And I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't know what I want. Like, I'm in my 20s and I don't know what I want. I know what I like enjoy. I know like the people I'm around are people that I want to be around for a long time. And I was thinking about how sad it is that some people like, you know, get into these relationships in their 20s and sometimes they end amicably, I don't know, but other times they don't end amicably. And then you're left with all this wreckage, and then there's like this norm where it's like, yeah, that's my toxic ex, I never talk to them again.
I'm still in love with all my exes.
Like, yeah.
I'd
like,
have a conversation with each of them right now, and I'd be like, why can't we work this out? Like, it's your deal, because I'm fine. Like,
I got to that point too. Yeah, I was just like, wait.
Speaking of my ex and most recent, I was just like, want to talk? And she was like, no. I was like, okay, weirdo. Like, then I'm done. Like, you're weird.
There's nothing wrong with talking. Yeah, like
there's nothing wrong with talking.
I hate that culture that's like, we can't talk about it. Everything's toxic. Everyone's and like, granted, we're not all perfect, okay? Like, but you know what? I can guarantee you, lots of bitches be like, their first relationship was probably the most toxic shit ever. You know, like, you're gonna have a toxic relationship at some point in your life because again, 20s are tumultuous and you're learning and nobody knows dick about themselves.
No one knows
But
squat.
riddle me this.
But we can talk about it. People just don't want to.
Why is there so much pressure on one person? I think that's half of where the problems stem from.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this is just so hard. It's not supposed to be this hard. Bye-bye. And also, riddle me this. What would your 20s be like in the Middle Ages? I can't separate myself from the culture. We can't. Think of this. You could have been born at any time, and part of me is just like, oh, this is such shit. Like, it's the culture. Like, just
I do think a lot of the issues
extract
are
yourself
from
the culture and be a human animal, and let's just kiss.
But
everyone should kiss.
Animal though, because here's the thing. Like, relationships do mean something. Like, but here's the other thing.
What's wrong with being an animal? Why does that not mean something?
Well, that just makes it sound like, yeah, like, no accountability, do whatever you want. And I believe in accountability.
Well, animals don't just do whatever they want. They're bound by the laws of nature, my friend. We've gone off the rails because we think we aren't animals. You'd have to specify that a little bit better. Like, but watch animals. They do their tasks and they have like rules.
Yeah.
Bonobos are really fun because they're all gay.
Bonobos.
I do agree that the culture is like the biggest problem of it because yeah, like not one person can serve all of your needs, but yeah, like eventually, you know, I do want to get to a place maybe where I can find someone that I would trust to have children with. And I don't necessarily want to get married.
I don't want kids, but I want to adopt.
I don't think I want to get married.
I can't bring myself to bring a child into this world. I just can't. But I'm like, you're already here. Let me help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to birth one and be like, yeah, I forced you into this shithole. I think about this, like, because this society, it's like so individualistic right now that we all are kind of forced into like a coping mechanism and a specific lens that we like how we cope with things, and we're fragmented in so many ways that if I was in a big group of people, then I'm like, would I be monogamous in the group? Like, it'd probably be
Yeah.
more fun to be monogamous in a group where everyone was sticking together.
Yeah.
But, you know, do you
I
get it?
agree. Yeah.
But when but when everyone's so fragmented, it's like,
Yeah.
then I have to just stick with your, like, one way of-
Okay, yeah, I
Do you get what I'm
totally
saying?
get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that makes more sense to me. Yeah, I was basically thinking about that today because I was like, yeah, like, I can't think of a single person that I've met up until this moment in time that I feel like I would feel safe, like, to be in a
Having
monogamous
kids.
relationship with, or having kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
me
not that I
either.
want to have kids. I cannot have kids right now. Oh my god, no. But if I had a kid, I always have dreams that I'm pregnant, and every time I have a dream
it's
that
so
I'm pregnant, I'm like, kill it, kill it.
No. I have dreams of just getting married, and I wake up like,
I was hella lucid dreaming. What did I just say? I was hella lucid dreaming last night. I literally, in my dream, like, I was this, like, powerful ninja, and I was about to fight this big villain in front of, like, 2 villages. And then I was like, oh my god, wait, I need to lucid dream really quick so I can get the powers that I need. And I went to sleep in my dream, got the powers, woke up, fought the dude, and then woke up in real life.
I'm in this dream, and I have to go into this dream to get my powers.
I was like, oh my god, I have to go a layer deeper. Shove the thing in my ear, like on Rick and Mortal. Oh my god, I'm sweating. Okay.
Scary.
But yeah, non-monogamy, I'm like, yeah, I think at this point in my 20s that suits me best right now because I can't think of anyone who I want to, like, settle in with because
Wow.
I'm like,
Remember
bitch.
when we were having this conversation when we first moved in together? We've had so many just, like,
Yeah.
sitting on the floor in the kitchen.
Sitting
Like,
on the floor in the
after about
kitchen.
an hour of standing there, we're like, let's sit down.
Yeah, we're like, oh my god.
And you were like, no, like, monogamy. And I totally saw your perspective because I was like, yeah, like, there's value
Yeah.
in committing to someone. But also,
Yeah.
I'm trapped.
But right now, yeah, it's like
Trapped.
unless I can find someone who, like, frees me from that. Right now, I feel like I just absorb all of my people that I date. I absorb their problems if they're not dealing with them themselves.
I also am contradicting myself right now, though, because I have had Enzo's probably sitting here like, because I've had this conversation. Sometimes I'm like, I don't trust anyone, and everyone's gonna abandon me, and I need them to commit to me and be obsessed with me
Yeah.
because I don't trust anyone. But it's like a weird,
Yeah.
you know. There's
No,
that
I was
too.
thinking about that today too because I was like, at the end of the day, like, what am I most afraid of? Because, like, with non-monogamy, there is, like, a certain amount of fears that arise, you know. And I was like, okay, but what am I actually afraid of? And I was like, I don't feel like I get particularly jealous because it's not like the jealous feeling that I get. It's the fear that I'll be abandoned. Like, someone will find someone else, forget about me, or, like, that someone will think I'm, like, too much, or, like, that.
But that's the level of freedom that you, because then think about it this way. It's like they're more likely to cheat on you if you're forcing them to stay in this relationship.
Well, that's true.
with
Well, I
you.
don't want to force anyone to stay. I'm just saying my fear, like, of non-monogamy, because I was like, yeah, like, I don't think I get jealous. Like, I do feel very, like, confident in myself, and like if somebody leaves me, it's like, like, you're missing out. Sorry. Like, and not even in an egotistical way. Everyone should have self-worth. Everyone should value themselves. Because to me, yeah, I'm like, I know what I have to offer, and I know, like, what I'm capable of giving, and I know it's a lot, but I am afraid of, like, forming deep bonds with someone and then having them just leave and become my toxic ex. I'm like, what? Like, we can avoid all that if we just talk.
But I always think, I'm like, yes, there's some dynamic element, whatever, with us and, like, who I'm with, or some specific thing about me that you can't get somewhere else. But there's so many other people where it's the same damn thing. Like, they have some element.
Maybe, yeah.
You know? Like,
I don't
it's
know.
hard. It's
Well,
just
yeah,
like,
like, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and that's true. But I do think everyone, again, has strengths and weaknesses. Like, there's a dichotomy to it. It's like, yeah, you're leaving me to go maybe get this thing that this other person has that I don't have, but still, like,
This is one layer, because I used to think like relationships where you find everything you need, like who can give you the most of what you need. But then the next layer on top of that is it's like, does your vision of what you want your life to look like line up? Because if not, then
Yeah, that's the next step.
that's
True.
the next thing. And I almost feel like that matters more than like compatibility, because if you both want similar things from life, it's like,
That's true. And if you're motivated to like do it together, I also just want to be with someone who like inspires me, because I feel like my main drive in life is just like continually feeling creative and continually like pushing my bounds, you know?
yes.
So it's like I want to be with someone who will do that for me, and maybe I can reciprocate for them, because I just think that's like a cool thing to do in a partnership. And then yeah, like what can we like with those boundaries that we're pushing for each other, what can we use that to build?
Yeah, and isn't it
know?
hard to find someone? There are very few inspirational people in this culture, because the easier thing to do is just be like, oh,
It's
look
just
at me.
pick up and leave.
Look how successful I am. Like,
Oh.
so many people are that. Well, that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like about success. And
Yeah.
like, I'm just like, success to
Like,
me
how do you
is not-
define success? Is it how many people you're sleeping with, or is it how many people who actually genuinely know you?
Yeah, it's just most people in this culture, I'm like, you don't hit.
Yeah.
And you
Like
think
how many
you do.
how many people, no one would openly say this, but like how many people can you like look at and be like, this person knows all the good shit about me, and they also know all the most horrid shit about me? Because guess what? We all
Rare.
have good and bad shit.
Jilly knows that deep down, I'm a control freak. But what's the word
I
for
wouldn't
it?
use that word or that phrase. I would control freak.
I don't want to say
Well,
Nazi, because I'm not like
no,
a...
you're not. But you are we are similar in this way, where we're very analytical emotionally. Yeah. And when we see certain traits of someone that's maybe I do not want to sound like an ass right now, because everyone is different. But me and my therapist were talking about this the other day, and we were like, you know what? There are some people who are fine to live like in this sort of like ignorance about like their flaws, like, because that's the problem. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge their flaws, and truth is we all have them. That's why we talk about it, is because we're like, bitch, I got flaws, and you're like, yeah, I got flaws, because yeah, like that's important to do. It's important to like dig into those layers of yourself, because honestly, if you do, you're gonna feel 30 times more confident, 40 times more hot, and 50 times more like a whole person.
What is it that did it? We talk about self-actualizing a lot, and how we
do.
like want to understand ourselves.
That's what we're trying to spread.
I think that part of my desire for that and to understand myself, or like why things are working out, is because I wasn't getting what I wanted. But then I'd also sabotage things once I got what I wanted, which is very weird.
Interesting. That's a juxtaposition all on its own. Wait, say it.
The juxtaposition.
We're gonna soundbite that.
And chips, like.
But yeah, like, yeah, I realized that too. I think maybe a part of me is realizing that now, because it's like,
But it's zoochosis. We're in captivity. We really are trapped by other people's minds, and so it's like once you get what you want, it's like,
well, we're
zing,
trapped.
gotta turn the other way and do the bad thing now, because I don't know if you struggle with this ever, but I really will feel trapped in my body. It's like I need a constant problem to solve, or else I'm trapped in my brain. And I think that's why I'm so afraid of, why I've been afraid of the void in the past, because it's like, I'm the void and I can be trapped there, and I could get stuck there, and I'm gonna be a schizophrenic girl, because I'm gonna run out of problems, and so I'm gonna turn it back on myself.
Yeah. Well, I will say you know, I would say maybe currently I don't feel that way, but honestly, like all the shit I
You
was
felt
telling you
that?
about when I was 15, I did feel that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Okay, happened sooner for you.
Because I think I was just very disconnected from my body for a long time. I think that like being okay, and here's a little background. We were raised Mormon, okay? Yeah, classic. So we're going to be referencing that a lot, whatever. But I do think being raised Mormon had a lot to do with that. Like I felt so disconnected from my body for so long because like everything that you are is being done for you by someone else. Like it's like no, you don't need to take responsibility for yourself. Oh, you're having a problem? Go talk to this person. Go, you know, tell your bishop. Go to this resource specifically. Don't go to yourself.
Oh, but not for me though. Wait, because for me it was like, oh, I'm so unhappy and miserable, and it's because I'm not keeping the commandments enough. Like God's mad at me.
Well, yeah,
He's making me depressed.
It turns
and
inverted. Oh, yeah. Oh, you blamed God on that.
Yeah, or no, like I didn't like. Oh, like yeah, He took the spirit away.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
When it's like,
Yeah.
oh, the culture's so fucked up. Like everyone's depressed and anxious. It
But I
has
also
nothing
think-
to do with.
Yeah, but I also think I think our generation and maybe Mormons too, they don't exactly teach their kids emotional freedom.
Well, and that's just me, because I saw plenty of people. That's actually why I ended up leaving the church, because I was like, wait, it's not me. I can only punish myself for so long.
Yeah.
Look at these assholes. Like, they're none of them are taking accountability. Why am I? Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Do you get it?
That does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was like, it felt like a sickness. Like I just felt like I felt so helpless, like in my own body, that I was looking for any external thing to like save me from what I was feeling. And I didn't realize all along that I could have healed that for myself if I would have had the tools to do that. And like, luckily my parents put me in therapy at like 15 or 14 or 15. Yeah. So like, that was really helpful. I think my therapist like taught me a lot of exercises, like getting in touch with my body, and like just because like, you know, with anxiety, like it's a physical reaction. Like you have a thought that stresses you out, and then like it can make you tense up or hold your breath, and you like don't realize that your body's reacting. And then if you do any of those like triggering actions, your body will like take that as a signal that something really is wrong, because you're doing the physical action, and then it just spreads and it gets worse, and then that's what escalates into a panic attack.
Yes.
Because you think you're like not, like you think something's happening, you think you're in danger, but you have to like remind yourself that you're not in state in your body.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It is
Because
crazy.
I've also, what I've learned with that too is when I dissociate, that's also your body trying to keep you safe, like taking you out of the environment. It's like a weird.
Do you feel like you lived in your imagination a lot as a kid?
Oh, fully. That's what I really feel like. Since like moving in with you guys, I've had like a safe space to really think about that and like try and unpack that, because like literally my whole life I've lived in my imagination, like just alone in my head. And like,
you ever heard of maladaptive daydreaming?
No, but I have it.
You're gonna find it really interesting.
We're so similar, Julie.
We
it's
are,
so
yeah.
fun. I love it.
Okay, so it's a mental health issue where a person daydreams excessively, sometimes for hours at a time. It's an unhealthy or negative attempt to cope with or adapt to a problem.
It's like what I was saying, like it's my coping way of not having to live in the moment. Because oh my gosh, like so many times where my mom, it's like my personal will was not valued as a kid. It's like go to your room like all the time, and I would just sit up in my room, and it's like I was just alone in my head, or like I'd even like rip up my favorite books, like it's so crazy. Not that crazy, but like so sad to think
but, like,
about.
it is
like
like
I feel like I was in a cage.
Yeah, it's like a, what do you call that? Like a it's just like acting out because you don't have like a healthy way of like channeling your emotions. That's why we need to teach our children emotional freedom techniques. And I have been seeing a wave of parents teaching their kids on TikTok, and it's giving me a lot of hope. Because I'm like, God, I wish I had
That's
that
so
when I was a
good.
kid. But maladaptive daydreaming, I think for me was a big thing too. Like, I just used to imagine things a lot. Like, I would imagine like scenario after scenario in my life, and it could be anything from like something that could possibly happen to something that was just like so off the charts impossible. But like,
Me too.
yeah, like I used to like, yeah, like
Kidnapping was a huge one. I just always thought I was going to be kidnapped.
yeah,
I'd lay awake and stare at the door for hours.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have like, if I ever got freaked out by like a character on TV, I would always like imagine that they were chasing me, like Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
The Grim Reaper from Cartoon Network.
Oh,
That
freaky.
was mine.
Yeah, Gollum used to scare me so fucking bad.
Did you have limerence? Have you heard of that? It's like the OCD
By
towards like you're constantly
Vestu
thinking of
Mel.
someone, like your romantic
It's a song.
interest. No,
What does
it's
limerence mean?
It's an OCD.
Wait, let me
Look it up.
Let's look
It
up
began at a
limerence.
young age. That was my kind of maladaptive daydream. I that was like that was the start of one of my coping mechanisms, and it's because of all the princess books that I was reading and like the men coming to
Oh.
save the girl. Like,
Oh, so
yeah,
romantic or non-romantic feelings for another person, and typically includes intrusive, melancholic thoughts or tragic concerns for the object of one's affection, as well as a desire to form or maintain a relationship with the object of love and to have one's feelings reciprocated. Oh, so it's just like,
an involuntary state of intense desire for someone. It's more of a I've heard a few descriptions of it, but it's kind of like
I've never heard this before. Oh, it's like an attachment theory is what it says.
and an obsession. It's a huge
Intrusive and obsessive.
yeah.
Thoughts, feelings, and behaviors from euphoria to despair.
And it's usually with someone that you know you can't have, and that's what keeps the obsession going. And then it's like if you were to have them, you wouldn't want them because then you don't get to have the obsession anymore. It's like a way to keep your mind busy.
Whoa, that's really interesting.
And I've always chosen people, I would say until wish we could be friends, girl. It's your problem.
So yeah, like what?
Jeez.
That's what I want. Yeah, I'm like, from all my relationships, I want to be able to like look back at them and be like, what did we learn together? Like, because that's what heals me. I don't want it to be like, oh, my fucking toxic ex. And granted, if you do have an ex that's like a freak bitch who did something really scary, then yeah, they're toxic. But I'm talking toxic where it's just like,
But you
two-
liked them. You
two
wanted
boring
that.
people who like,
You wanted that.
true. So maybe there was something
What's up
going
with
on in
you? Yeah. But limerence, now everybody
Exactly.
knows. Now every guy
Limerence
and they
is interesting.
knew. The guys knew that I was obsessed with them. Like
What do you think?
and
that,
a lot
what do
of
you think
them
that
loved.
drive
They thought it
was?
was like oh, the drive. What do you think the drive was? It's zoochosis. I'm an animal in captivity right now, and I'm so fucking bored that I have to find like the most interesting person
Oh, so you think
who
limerence
doesn't
was
want
a part-
me.
Limerence was a part of that
Well,
from the zoo state of mind.
it's like as a kid I went into my brain, the maladaptive daydreaming, right? That's a great I
that
can't
was
believe-
me. Yeah.
Yeah, so then the limerence just became a form of that. It's like next level
Interesting.
maladaptive daydream because then you're like bringing it into the real world. Then it's like you're
Yeah.
having these interactions with someone.
It's
and
like a
then-
TV show in your head.
Yeah.
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 I do think maybe I have had that before, but I think yeah, that was just like being disconnected from my body and like having to learn how to connect with my body. Because yeah, like sometimes that daydreaming, that is the only high that you're getting. You're just getting the high from the daydream. But like it's like when you look at the actual person, the object of your desire, you're like,
I don't want you.
you're like, you're not. Oh my God, I think that did happen to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think we also both have a tendency to like put people on pedestals, and then you take
then
them off
we're
and you're
like-
like, oh, you're like, oh. What was I thinking?
Let's talk about this guy. He in fact added me on Instagram a few months ago.
No way.
Said some weird shit.
Wait.
Oh, is it this way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I keep having to change
I've
mine
messed
too.
up the whole thing, I think.
Whatever.
Okay. He messaged me, said some weird shit, and then
wait, who is this?
I like responded. This guy from my mission.
Oh,
he was so manipulative. He would
from your Mormon mission.
He was a brown noser. He was a liar, and no one could see it except for me. Literally, I'd call him out, and he'd be like, and he'd get so mad, and then
I know you fucking sniffed that shit out. That's awesome.
Yeah, the mission president made him freaking assistant to him. This guy came home and got a girl pregnant. I was like, and you know how I met him? You know, because we were in this area that the president wanted us to fix. He was like sending us there to fix the area.
Oh.
And first time I meet him is in a meeting with the branch president, and he's like, I can promise you that we're going to fix this and there will be no elder sister relationship. And he's like, and I'm like sitting there looking at him. I'm like, oh great, this guy.
You're like, projecting.
And he would flirt with me, and I liked him. I couldn't help it because I like assholes. Like, and
you're like, I can fix you.
He tackled me one time. He like, and I felt so guilty. Like he was chasing me. He chased me around the corner, and you weren't supposed to be alone. And I'm like in my head, like, God's so mad. God's so mad.
God's freaking the fuck out right now.
God's freaking. I confessed to the president. I was like, some elder, can't tell you who, tackled me. Is God
elder
mad?
Spear tackled me in the cathedral. I'm so fucking sorry.
And I would obsess over him. And
I'd
I'd feel guilty. And like this one meeting he had, and he knew I was like sliding down in my seat because the mission president was like, if you start to have a crush on one of the elders or the sisters, you guys better tell me.
You guys
and
better
so I can
fucking snitch.
You better move areas. And I was like,
oh my God.
I was like,
you're like, oh God.
Like slinking, or what's the word? Like shriveling into. I was shriveling into my skin, and he noticed. Like he was.
You're like kale in an oven.
And I'm like, I can't leave the area for this boy. But so he'd send texts when he was in AP, like to the whole mission, like cryptic messages about me in the text, and it would like stress me out.
Like what kind of messages?
Well, he'd call me Princess Leia, and he was Jabba. And he'd
what
like,
kind of
say
fantasy is he thinking in his head? He's like, yeah. Enzo. I'm shook that he had that. Like, I need to know the psychology behind that, because that is crazy. You know, he was like, why didn't he say what's that one guy's name? Her actual love interest?
Oh, Han Solo.
Oh yeah, Han Solo, duh. Like, why wasn't he saying like, I'm Han Solo and she's Princess Leia?
No,
why was he
Jabba.
why was he saying the freak slug pimp?
Because he's funny, Chili. That's why I liked him. You know that he's funny from that, okay?
That's
and
crazy.
He'd call me out in front of the whole mission. We'd have these meetings,
yeah.
And he'd call me up to the front to like, he'd be like, all right, now Sister Searle's gonna come up and improvise. And I'd be like, and I'd freak out, and I'd get up, but then I'd make everyone laugh, and I'd look at him, and I'd be like,
you'd be like, I done. You'd be like, your move.
It literally was like that. Oh my gosh.
What a fun game.
It was a fun game. But then immediately, he thought that when we got home, it was gonna like, I don't know, he'd
turn into something.
Messing with me. Like, he thought he was gonna be able to mess with me more. Like, he tried to hang out with me, but I wanted to go hang out with my friend who's like way hotter than him, and he like
when you guys
hung out
both
with
got
us,
home
and
from
he
your
like
mission?
he got all weird around. Yeah.
Oh.
And then And then I immediately went back to like my ex from high school, and he was more of a limerent obsession for me. And he's the guy.
He's the guy.
When I got drunk.
He's not the guy.
When I got drunk, I called him crying. I admitted like my full obsession with him, and he was like, "What the fuck? Like, I did not know you liked me."
Wait,
this
to
much."
the elder or
No, to my ex from high school.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, "I'm in love with you," and he was like, "What?"
Wait, that was a drunk call?
Yeah.
Oh my
The
god.
first time I got drunk, I was like sobbing.
Wow.
Well, okay, but that's so much pent up emotion, right? When
Yeah.
you're living in your
It was
head
like
and
the
you're obsessing.
floodgates open.
The floodgates open, and
Yeah.
it's like all these obsessions that I've had as a coping mechanism. It was like, I need them to be something now. Okay, so here's my emotion, whatever. And I said it, and then he was like, whoa. And he didn't talk to me for like a month, asshole.
Aw,
Like,
rude.
he was so rude. And he was freaked out. But that's why I liked him, because he was so out of touch with his emotions. And that's
it
what
was
allowed
like
it to keep going. Yeah. It
me
was just-
scratching my ass in the mirror. Got it? Sorry.
the psychology of it all.
The psychology. I'm scratching my ass.
Scratching your ass.
That
And
juxtaposition.
My first boyfriend in college
Your turn.
sucked. He was
So bad.
he was just dumb. Like and if he's watching this, I'm sorry, but that relationship was so weird. Like, and probably just because it was my very first boyfriend. I never dated anyone in high school. Like, in high school, I was like catch and release. Like, I would like someone a lot, and I would be like, yes, and then I would get them to like me back, and as soon as they did, I'd be like, oh god.
Well, me
no.
too. I
Yeah.
set him up with my friend. That's like, he was pursuing me so hard, and I was like, date my friend. And then he started to like her, and I was like, wait.
Yeah. No, literally, yeah. Like, it was a game for a long time for me. But yeah, he was a ding dong, and I think I had a crush on him honestly because I was going to school at Brigham Young University, Idaho, and I thought he was interesting because he had a tattoo. And it wasn't even a cool tattoo.
Great, now we know your
Worst tattoo ever.
Now we know your past, Jilly.
Don't, guys.
Now we know the worms in your
Stop.
brain.
But I dated that homie for how long did I date? It was a long
Limerence?
time. It was a
Limerence?
long time. I don't know if I was ever limerent with him. Well, maybe I was. Maybe I like. I don't remember ever like really thinking about him.
Maybe if you listen to the podcast, Enzo, you'd know what limerence was. It's an obsession.
I think it was just maybe like fun having a boyfriend in college, but he was like, in my mind, I was like, there's no way I would be with this kid for the long term. Like, I call all men I've dated kids, okay? I don't want like any weirdness about it, but I'm like, I'm not gonna date this kid for that long. Like, it's crazy. And so I think we dated for maybe 4 months, maybe less. I don't know. But I broke up with him, and I just was like, listen, like, it's not me, it's you. I actually don't even remember what I said. I blocked it out. Or something. Yeah,
At
and then I never talked to him
BYU
again.
Idaho, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, and you know what? He was the worst because literally like maybe a year or two ago, and it's been like 5 years since we've dated at this point, and it was like maybe a year ago that he like DM'd me on Instagram and like and it was at a point where I had already like left the church, and I think it like maybe reflected on my social media a little bit, and he was still following me, and he like DM'd me and like made mention of that and was like, oh yeah, like you're not Mormon anymore. And I was like, yeah, like, you know, like briefly reminisced on our relationship. I should pull it up actually because it would probably be funny to read that now.
This isn't the guy you mentioned yesterday, is it?
I think it is actually.
Oh, okay.
He is. Oh my god, I knew it. Ew, don't look at that. Okay, listen.
He's one of them.
So
Jamie, could you pull up Jilly's screen on the podcast?
I think when I broke up with him, I did say something about him like not being as motivated about the church, honestly, which is dick
That's
move.
one of the reasons why.
Probably. And I know that
Because your vision for your life needed to match.
Yeah. I was like, this doesn't make sense for the long term. But he sent me one of my posts. And he said, "You've changed." And I was like, a lot, so much. And he said, "So I'm not the bad guy anymore." And I was like, "You never were the bad guy." I just thought I knew what I wanted. And he said, "I got ya." And then I said, "Yeah, I'm drunk right now." That was probably one of the first times I got drunk. And he was like, "Really? LOL, same." And I was like, "Yes, ha ha ha, like, love it. What'd you drink?" And he was like, "Whiskey, blah, blah, blah." Talked about dumb stuff, what we were drinking. And then I was like, "Cool, like, nice talking to you." And then this bitch literally said this: "Do I ever get to see your boobies?"
What?
So I was right to break up with him.
Oh yeah, this is it. He never got to go completely through to the light.
Yeah, and
you're
literally
always
was like,
gonna be
what the fuck?
in the back of his mind. Oh, set him free,
Probably.
Jilly. Set him free.
I'm like, fine. Is this what
Send
you
it
wanted?
right now on the podcast. We're all gonna see something.
And finally, I'm gonna fulfill my first boyfriend's dream of seeing my boobs.
And then you can
Here
both.
we go.
Then you can both move on.
It's been bothering me for years. But I use that shitty excuse a lot. And you know what? Oh my God, looking back on that, I did date like a few boys who I ended up breaking up with them because they just like weren't Mormon enough. And I was like, God damn, that was probably because I knew that if I was with someone who wasn't Mormon, then I would not be Mormon. Yeah, like I had this one boyfriend. This is probably my favorite boyfriend I've ever had. He was really cute. I won't say his name. No, he was just a cutie, and he was so cute, and he like introduced me to like cool video games. Like he's the one who showed me Fallout 4, and I'm obsessed with that game. I've literally logged in like 11 days worth of gameplay.
Maybe he's still the one. Julie, he could still be.
No, he has a girlfriend now, I think, which is like good for him. I still follow him on Instagram because
but show him this episode on non-monogamy.
I'm like, wait, there's a way.
Episode 1.
I'm like, wait, how self-actualized are you? Not very? Okay, non-monogamy. Let's do it. On a scale from 1 to 10.
The guy has been coming over to our house, his friend who's non-monogamous. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it seems like he already you're talking
Yeah.
Okay, I'm bleeping that. Hella
Hella
bleep right
this
there.
whole podcast is gonna be, you're talking about beep,
No.
beep, beep, beep.
Well, some of it, yes. Some of it, no. It's fun. It's fun.
It's
I don't
fun.
know.
Sorry.
I'll truly be scared the day that I find someone who's like just as self-actualized as I am. I'll be like,
Because then you'll be like,
shit,
staring at
there's
the
more.
void.
There's more stuff in me. Yeah, like I'll be like, oh God, like I don't know.
yeah.
There's always gonna be more shit to dig up.
Oh no. Oh no.
But yeah, but it is like intimidating when you meet someone who like is on the exact same wavelength as you, because then you're like, oh, now this is like the real test of vulnerability. This is like the real test of like talking with someone who also knows everything. Like, well, okay, not knows everything. I'm just saying.
No, I know what you mean.
But you know what I mean, yeah, where
Yeah.
it's like, it's just literally about like peeling back those
But
layers.
that's the abyss for me.
Yeah.
What do you do when you stare into the abyss? When you're both just the abyss to each other?
Well, I don't know. I don't
SOS.
see it. I don't see it as an abyss. Maybe I just see it as like intimidating, and I'm like, oh, then I really have to like
Start a tribe.
I don't know. Actually, that's hard to explain. What am I trying to say?
You have no choice but to expand the abyss.
Yeah. I'm like, the universe is
No, but this culture makes me
infinite.
go into the abyss because it's like, oh, I'm trapped in it. But if you have people who know, it's almost like in this culture, if you meet someone at that level, it's like, oh, you know too much. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, you know too much. But it's like,
Well,
that's
yeah,
not
'cause
the way it should be. It should
Yeah.
be like, those are the people that you're building it with.
Those are
Because
the
they're
people
trying to
you
get
wanna
you
be around.
to escape the culture.
Yeah, like if I was I do feel like this is just like another, you know, self-value thing, but like everyone should want to be like best friends with themselves, in my opinion. And for me, I'm like I would want to be best friends with someone like me. I would want to have someone on my side who like has been, who
Like
has like
us?
similar experience. Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that like all day today, like non-monogamy, and I was like, what would actually be like a relationship that would motivate me to like be monogamous? And the truth is, I don't know. I have ideas about what that would look like and what I would want in a dynamic like that, but like the truth is I've never like actually fully experienced that, because I just don't think I've ever met someone who like, I think maybe for a while I didn't have standards for myself, because a lot of times when you're like unconsciously dating, like that's how I think of my like all those boyfriends, like everyone that I dated in college, and like everyone that I
Yes.
dated, yeah, like honestly everyone that I've dated like up until this point, I feel like I was doing it unconsciously. And then all of a sudden, like, I was just had this awakening of like, oh, like, I was like, you know, every relationship, there is like some type of need going on there, and it's not always negative, but it is always there. Like the type of people you're friends with, like you're attracted to things that are just like exciting or like fun and whatever, and just things that like excite you. Yeah.
You are drawn to people who have what you need, which is what I'm saying is in this individualistic society where we're fragmented and we all have this coping mechanism or this lens we're seeing through this like obsessive way. We have it through, like with me, it's like security. I need to feel safe, and I can't be alone,
Yeah,
and I
I
don't want to be
value
alone.
safety and stability. You know what? I
Well,
think
I think you value love. You're very into
and love. Yeah.
I've needed to cultivate more of that side of myself that is emotionally like vulnerable, like loving, because love doesn't come naturally to me. I'm like, can I trust you? And I'm gonna test you like in 1,000 different ways. And and when I was unconsciously dating, it was like, I'm testing you right now, and I'm just trying to prove to myself that I can't trust you. That's how it always was. That was the dynamic. So now that I'm aware of that, it's like, ugh, I don't want to. That is not fun. Like, everyone's gonna disappoint me if that, you know, like if I'm just constantly trying to prove to myself that I'm not safe.
And you have to allow for a little bit of trust. Like you have to like take responsibility for like picking people who can make you feel safe.
Yes.
Yeah. 'Cause I think that exists.
Yeah, but with monogamy, it's like, okay, there's so many different things that everyone has to offer. I'm just gonna choose one dynamic.
Yeah, but I will say though, like the type of dynamics that people want depend on where they're at in life, you know, because it's like some people want to have really intense emotional experiences. Some people just want the feeling of falling in love without anything behind it. Some people just want like, you know, avoidant attachment styles where you never talk about shit, or like, because like we talk about this a lot with our friends. A lot of our friends like will talk about like relationship dynamics that we like know in our life, or things that we've oh my god,
Enzo, please.
Things that we've seen. And some relationships, like when you're an unbiased like third party observer, you can see like certain dynamics going on, and you can see, oh, like these two people have probably never had a conversation about A, B, or C, you know. So some people do choose to exist in specific dynamics based off of where they're at in their own self-awareness and their own journey, and like what they're okay to ignore, what they're okay to not ignore. And that is a different equation for every single person.
You're so right.
Like, because the other thing too, another point to that is like, so that's a part of our culture is this, and I hate this. This is the worst fucking part of dating culture, is accessibility, and the way that we've become to like so infected by it in this way where it's like, yeah, people are expendable, and like you start to see people less as human beings and more as options, especially for women. And it's gross and disgusting, and I hate it, but it's like, yeah, like, okay. And I mean, I guess for women too, but I like women can do that with men, and that's true, but still that's like a double standard that I don't want. I don't need. It's like I don't need a thousand options, because then it just makes it so much less meaningful. It's like, no, I'm trying to like find people who I can like genuinely connect with, and a lot of these people are just looking for like these surface level connections where it's like, who's gonna give me attention, who's gonna validate me, who's gonna like worship me and like do what I say, or like I don't know. And or other people are like, oh, I have to compromise all these things about myself to like be in a relationship with this person. I don't know.
We're
It's
so
a
aware of our
wormhole.
inadequacies too, that it's like when we go into
Yeah.
a relationship, being fully aware of those, it's like
Yeah.
if we're really bonding here, you're gonna see that about me.
Yeah.
And this
people,
can't just be about worshiping me, because this is who I
It
am, and you have
can't.
to be okay with that.
you have to learn how to appreciate humans and all their flaws. Like, people get so disappointed, like, because they come up with like this fantasy idea of like what they want a relationship to look like, and then maybe that feeling lasts for a few months,
2
a
weeks.
year, however
It's always
long.
2 weeks
Yeah, and then you're
in
like,
my
and
experience.
some people get so infatuated by that they're like, yeah, I want to marry this person. But then down the line, once you have your first conflict, everyone freaks out because nobody knows how to feel uncomfortable in relationships. And I think that's another sickness derived from Mormonism, because nobody ever said to me growing up, like, that marriage was going to be hard, honestly. Like, the way that I always felt about it.
It was
like,
what you were, the ultimate goal.
yeah, like up until I was probably like 21, I was like, yeah, marriage is the ultimate form of happiness. Marriage is the ultimate form of fulfillment and all this stuff. And it was like this very slow realization, like, oh, relationships take a lot of fucking work. And you have to like choose someone who's willing to do that work with you, and again, is on like the same wavelength as you for like knowing your own flaws and your own shit. Like, yeah, like I can't be with someone who like clearly has a flaw but like refuses to acknowledge it, because it's like,
yeah.
I'm acknowledging mine, and here's the thing, we all have them, and it's okay. Like, it literally is so, I wish that more people felt safe to talk about their flaws. I wish that it didn't have to be like such a scary thing, because it's like, we all have it. It's just a fact of life. And if we were all able to like get this entire world, like literally imagine, this is kind of a poor example, but I don't know, first pop culture thing that pops into my mind. Imagine like Donald Trump coming out with a video and being like, oh my God, I'm a fucking asshole. And like up until this point in my life, I've done so much shit. And he's like sobbing and like punching himself. I don't know. Like just imagine like Harry Potter at the very end, when Harry Potter's about to kill Lord Voldemort, and he's like, Tom Riddle. he's like, please, Tom, like, this is your last chance. Like, try for some remorse.
And he cannot.
And he couldn't. I mean, he couldn't. He was conceived under a love potion, so really he was fucked from the start. But
And that's Donald Trump.
yeah, but like, imagine if everyone in the world was like, oh God, like, I do have some fucked up things about myself.
He was
but
Donald Trump was conceived in a Trump tower, and under capitalism and the money game, and he can't.
Donald Trump was never capable of love to begin with. Oh my God, I would actually cry if that happened. I would be like, humans are humans, aren't they?
Humans are.
Oh my God.
Well, I think that this is a huge barrier, okay? Because I keep thinking about how everything's set up to make it so difficult to just have
I know.
one quality relationship.
I know. But that's why this is the movement we're trying to start.
Just so you know, we've started a movement, and you're here.
If you're watching this, you're a part of that movement. And the movement is, wake the fuck up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. You're in a night.
Go take. Hey, Enzo.
Yeah.
I'm hurting
Wake up.
Enzo's ears.
Wake up. Look at. The dopamine has gotten to you.
And this is a class A example.
Really snails that can eat.
Oh.
don't appreciate nature anymore. I was reading about ADHD. It's actually nature deficit, and your kids just need to be out there in the wild with the sensory overload of the planet.
That's true.
And just freaking get your kids outside, please.
No, when I was a kid, and me and my brother were really into playing all the Lego Indiana Jones games. We would play them for like hours on end, and my parents would literally be like, go outside, and I'd be like, no, because I was so addicted to this synthesized form. But I fucking love those games. I'll be real. They're awesome.
My Nintendo.
He knows.
We can play right
Yeah.
Should we stop the podcast and go play?
now. Yeah.
Wait, but hold on. We're gonna end on a quick thing. What's your favorite song right now, Bryn?
I can't say. It's too
Why?
Incriminating.
Incriminating? Why? Okay, pick your second most favorite song right now.
Oh God. Silver Springs by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, okay. My favorite song right now it's in Spanish, and I don't quite know do you know how to pronounce it? This.
Ojos del Sol, Eyes of the Sun.
Ojos del Sol by
I could have told you that.
Bamba.
Damn. Wait, I want to ask a question now.
Okay.
Okay, so if I could have someone direct a non-monogamous group movie, it'd be Greta Gerwig. What about you?
Oh. You're like non-monogamous
friend group
friend
movie.
group movie.
Shut up, Enzo.
I'll say James Wan.
Why don't I know them?
He's the director of the Conjuring movies, because then it would be a little bit scary.
I'm not gonna watch it.
I would watch it. I love scary. Thanks you so much. Thanks for joining.
Thanks you.
Thanks you so much.
Thanks you.
Good night.